Kind of tall for me. I think I'll just shout. You know, when you have a guest speaker and they go, oh, just perfect. Anyway, good morning. I'm Reverend Sharon Dunn. I'm a senior minister here at the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living, where we believe that you can change your life by changing your thinking. Remember when we used to say that at the theater? We have so much to celebrate today. We have an amazing guest speaker, all the way from Thailand. Seminary with Reverend Patricia.
I did.
Yes, you did. And she's an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister as well. And then you were in Chico.
Yes, as the assistant minister there.
Assistant minister there. And more than anything, there was a starving paradise where I raised my children, grew up and raised my children. So we have a lot in common. We've seen each other at convention in places that are not of this country. So we have a big treat today. And we also have an amazing musician today. And you know, she writes her own music. Or does God write music as her? Because when you listen to her, it's not like anything else. It is amazing, and the words are so deep, and the consciousness is so deep, and the loving heart is so big. This is an extraordinary person, and I'm so happy to be here. So let's get started. We definitely are recording this service as we're building our community through social media. So if you don't want to be recognized, you can make up a name and stop your video. Otherwise, stay with us. And the other person that is married to the musician is our web designer. We show every week, we talk about, go to our website, it has everything, it's so amazing. And it is. And we have so much to be grateful for Jaime is doing our website. And it's the best website in all of Centers for Spiritual Living as far as I'm concerned. So please go there and find out what's happening and what's going on. And I think that's about it, is it? Please, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel because that grows us. And last but not least, no, not least at all, another extraordinary person in our community. Linda Connolly, who is our practitioner. And that means that she's gone through all of our classes and 2 years of prac studies, and then her panel, and then her written exam. And she has also a beautiful consciousness, and she's going to lead us into prayer. And we're not having readings today because Reverend Lisa has brought some readings. So we're going to do things just a little bit different. Don't we like that? We do.
Yeah.
So let's hear from Linda.
Hello.
Hello.
I am so blessed. Am I not to use this?
No, you're fine.
Okay. So as we settle into our chairs, our seats, and feel connected to Mother Earth, who is always supporting us, let's just take that deep breath in. Connecting to the living spirit within us. That source that is the creator creating all of creation. For it creates out of and in itself to experience itself in form of all creation, in the form of all humanity. For where it is, everything is, and where everything is, it is. It is this oneness that we live and express ourselves throughout our life. It is that expresses itself in through me and as everyone here and through all humanity. For it is everywhere that creation is. There is no separation. So as we breathe in, let us open the windows and the ears to our heart and soul to receive all that is good, to receive the message that is going to be delivered today from Reverend Lisa Carson, to receive the gift of Jennifer de Guzman's beautiful voice, to receive the abundance and the gift of each and every one of us here, and those that we will cross paths with throughout our day, and knowing that as we breathe in, we will hear exactly what we need to hear. We will experience and feel exactly what it is that we need today. And I am so thankful for everyone here, and I'm especially thankful for our production team. For it is through their gifts and their knowledge of technology that allows us to gather in person, in Zoom, and on YouTube. They are truly a gift. Without them, we would only be experiencing each other in one format instead of three. That is an incredible gift. And for all this, I am thankful and more. I'm going to thank her by saying, and so it is. And now I would love to introduce our beautiful Jennifer Bloomer. Jennifer is a longtime singer, songwriter, and pianist who's been sharing her songs in many New Thought churches all throughout Northern California for over 30 years. She's also well-versed in science of mind, having completed all the courses through Practitioner 1 training in the late 1990s. And more recently, she led the music program here at CSL in 2018. She's currently in the midst of recording her third album of original songs and collaborating with a playwright in fine-tuning a musical theater show she wrote the story and music for. And in her spare time, she also teaches private voice and songwriting lessons from her home. So please open your heart and your ears to welcome Jennifer.
Thank you. So I want to share a song with you that's a song that I wrote in 2018 when I was the music director. And it was inspired, I think, by a class. I must have taken a class because, after prac training, I continued taking science of mind classes. And in this class, I got to really reflecting on my spiritual beliefs, for lack thereof, growing up, and my idea of God or spirit as a child compared to what I've learned, or my understanding, my knowing now. So, and this song is a special song because at the time when I was the music director, I was gonna have our little newly developed choir sing this song. So a bunch of you kind of know it, because you were all gonna sing it with me. So imagine a choir of gorgeous voices supporting me on this song, which is called Unlimited. I grew up thinking that God was so limited, that he didn't have time for me. I felt I was just one of so many who needed him, that my troubles were low priority. I believed this to be, but now I see there's a God who's loving me beyond my limited view, is the source of all power that's true. Now I feel this love and compassion are real, not just for me but for all. No request too big or too small. Now I know my being is part of the whole. Never do I walk alone. In God I have found my way home. Unlimited, one with all power. Unlimited, one with all peace. Unlimited, one with all courage. Unlimited, one with all love. Now I can see that God is real. Now I can feel there's no space between us. Now I know true, the source is unending. Now I can see my limitless being. In God I have found my way home. In God I have found my way home. In God I have found my way home. Unlimited love.
Ah, yes, home and unlimited love. And with that, we will carry on as I introduce Reverend Lisa Carson, who is our guest speaker today. Unlike some people, my first time meeting you, so I'm quite honored to be here today. So she introduced to the Paradise Church of Religious Science at the age of 14. Reverend Lisa fell in love with fell in love with the science of mind philosophy in the teen summer camps. She studied the teachings on and off through college as she earned her BA and teaching credential in the mid-80s. She returned to studying science of mind more seriously, becoming a licensed minister in 2004. Lisa has worked in various ministerial capacities since then. From 2015 to 19, she was assistant minister at the Center for Spiritual Living, Chico, working as the youth and family director. She was ordained in 2018, and in August of 2019, her desire for travel and living overseas returned as she left on a pilgrimage interviewing people for her Rev on the Road YouTube channel. I'm gonna look that up. Sharing spiritual insights from Copenhagen, Germany, Switzerland, and Italy. She returned to India where she lived for 4 months in a spiritual eco village. She is now the senior minister at the Center for Spiritual Living Thailand, which was started by the late Rev Rob Applegate. She continues to share the teaching with many parts of Thailand, both online and in person when possible. Reverend Lisa is eager to visit Sacramento CSL now that she is back in California for a visit. So thank you, we are blessed.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. Let's see, we had a little glitch this earlier, but I know that it's all good. So let me make sure that I can go from the beginning. Do you know why Bruce this isn't?
Just hit slideshow.
Right there. And then again, from the beginning. I know, it's the first time this has happened, so I'm a little confused. Maybe if I just take out the HDMI again a little bit.
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Okay. We had this all set up before and it was. It's just before the mouse disappeared and that caused it to. Okay. You should have idea of what.
Mouse disappeared again.
Okay. Go ahead. There it is. It's just try from current margins from windows. When the camera.
Hey, Ruth.
I know, she saved me before and let me just test it now. Okay, good. There. Okay, much better. I love technology until I don't. I also want to thank Sharon for having me here, Reverend Sharon. And she asked me to wear a traditional Thai dress today, but for those who have ever experienced traditional Thai clothing, it can be a little complicated. It's like a big, long piece of material that has to be wrapped, and it has to be wrapped just properly. If not, it tends to come unravel. And to save all of this trauma this morning, I thought I would just stay with the tie dye. Tie dye is also making its rebound in Thailand, so I'm covered either way. Do you ever have those nightmares before you speak about clothes falling off? Or is it just me? Oh, okay. I just don't want to have it manifested. Anyway, I come to you with an adventure and experiences that I've developed over the last 3 years, and it's truly been a privilege and an honor to be able to live in another country where I could get to know such beautiful people there and have beautiful environments to be in. And before I forget, I'm going to do a quick little promo because I hope to manifest this book into being with a ministerial student, Sarah Awad Elliott, who is we worked on this book for months, and it's a treatment book for children.
Wow.
Has 5 steps of treatment, and the illustrations are just beautiful by Penny Weber. And it's multicultural, and it's a beautiful book, and it truly is representing the teachings of science of mind, but it's not just for children. I have a friend who keeps it on her bedstand, and it's also great for first year. And I brought little bookmarks and silk scarves, which also will help support getting me back to Thailand. So, and then the center there. So thank you ahead of time. And we have a workshop afterwards that I would love it if you could stay. It's going to be very interactive. I'm not going to just be talking to you. So you're going to be experiencing each other as well. So with love from Thailand, I think that coming from a space of just truly loving, the love is the theme with relationships for CSL this month. And so we come with love and from love. And so the 5 tips that I've created for the talk, the first one is we are all connected. And to me, this is huge because as we go along, we realize that despite our skin color, our body type, our background, our education, there's a connection that affects us all, and that's being human. We're connected on a DNA level, chemically, physically. It's just amazing, all the powerful connections that we have as humans. Ernest Holmes says, we are affirming the unity of all life, a unity which includes all variety. Unity passes into variety and multiplicity without division. When I first glanced at this, I thought it was some story problem that had to do with math, and not liking math, I had to reread it, and I thought, wait a moment. The cosmos delights in expressing as us. So out of this oneness, we get to show up in all our beautiful, unique forms as expressing so that the universe can expand through us. Now, one way I like to connect in Thailand was to go to the Wats, or temples they're called. And I love this colorful Wat called the Wat Dat Pai. I just felt this special energy there, this resonance with so many people who had been there meditating before. It was like a home base for me around Thailand. This one particular day, I went to another temple and I saw that there was this big white string kind of going around the temple. And at first I thought it was a clothesline. I thought, how rude are the monks to hang their clothes from one part of the temple to the other? Don't they know that, there's probably a tree out back? But no, they have to string it, not just on the temple, but through these little wax relics of monks as well. And so I started to get a little more confused. And then I saw more clothesline outside with these origami type paper things that were actually called prayer flags. And they believed that the prayers would ascend to heaven through these ladders. And so I then inquired more about the clothesline and realized that the main monk of the temple holds one end of the string and meditates on it and sends energy all the way through it so that it goes throughout the temple. And I thought it was such a beautiful ritual that then they cut it up into little bracelets and share it with the community so they can have these less bracelets. So yes, the clothesline imagery changed. Where and how do you feel that we are all connected? I just want you to go ahead and call some ideas now that you'd like to share. Maybe, I know that when I flew over from California to Thailand, I didn't see borders. I saw blue and green and white clouds. I just saw this continuous formation of life. But if you can, just call out whatever ways you see that we're connected.
Through nature from
Through nature, yes. We'll be talking about that more. Debbie?
A little bit similarly, we're all connected to the planet, so we're all connected and caring for them.
Yes, that's a good one too. And caring for each other, knowing that things transcend borders, both in a positive way and negative way, as we've been experiencing COVID. Certain things have no respect for borders, and yet there's also a unity that is very positive that connects us as well through ideas. We share ideas and they transcend across the planet. People can heal from a distance. Quantum physics shows us that we can be far away and still connected to our loved ones or strangers. That's why treatment works. The second tip I want to share is stay curious. Never mind what it did to the cat. I think he had 8 other lives anyway. Curiosity helps push us out of our comfort zone and move us forward in life so that we can begin to get in touch with whatever our passions are. Einstein said, the mind that opens to a new idea never returns to its original size. Think about it. Once you know something, it's really hard to unknow it. You change, you grow and develop and become more. Now, without curiosity, we would not see this image. If James Webb and Hubble had never wandered and wondered what was beyond our visual sight, we would never see things in such clarity. This image was the most recent one by James Webb. And I want to remind you, for those who aren't familiar with this deep space Hubble image, they took a little spot of space that looked like it had nothing in it, and it was the size of a grain of rice. And this is that little grain of rice magnified into many, many galaxies. Wow. So by curiosity, we discover things that we might have just dismissed as nothingness. This little Thai girl was curious about the exercise equipment, and she went ahead and was stretching her body, not just her mind, but into something beyond what she thought she could inhabit. They're all over Thailand. I love how they have these little things to keep us healthy all over. How many of you are curious about different foods? You want to try something new? And when you're in other countries, sometimes it can kind of be a little scary. But here, with the beautiful petals on it, I thought, why not? And if you put enough peanut sauce on anything, it tastes great. I was curious about learning how to do a Thai dance as well, and my teacher appeared in the form of a little 3-year-old. I think the pigeons were much better students than I was, though. She has a little traditional Thai dress, and as you can see, it's folded properly by her mother. Not having a Thai mother, I didn't want to risk it today. Curiosity also invites us to move beyond our fears into the unknown. This was a cave in southern Thailand, a massive cave that once we walked in, we couldn't even see the hand in front of our face. A little scary. You don't know what's beyond the hand. But as I was able to go in further, and with the illumination with our guide's light, we were able to see this. What does this look like to you?
Oyster shell.
A what?
Oyster shell.
Oyster shell. Oh, okay, that's a good guess. What else? There's no wrong answers,
The
right?
fungus that grows on trees that you see growing.
Okay, yeah. What else?
Yeah.
A what?
A crystal.
A crystal. It's a stalactite. Yes, they have to hang on tight. So, any other ideas? Yes.
It looks like it's the shape of a head in a body and somebody looking in.
Yes. Well, he pointed out it's like an alien head, and I thought this is where they've been hiding out. Anyway, so you
I was
can see
just
the
afraid
alien
to say it.
eyes. Pardon?
I was just afraid to say it.
Oh, no, don't be afraid. There's no wrong answers. This is just another one. And this next image is a little bit clearer on curiosity. What is this? An elephant. In fact, white elephants are considered very auspicious in Buddhism. And so they were very happy to have a white elephant to show us. But he looks like he's melting a little bit. I think he's been out the Thai humid heat, or not. But then they moved him back in there to cool off. Now I want to ask you, what are you curious about? Can you move through your fears to discover more? What are some things that you are feeling that spark of curiosity that you want to learn more? Maybe it's to travel, maybe it's to move. Any ideas?
That's what we're doing is moving.
Oh, no, moving.
No, it's a good thing.
Oh, a good thing,
It's a
okay.
good thing. We just didn't expect it.
Oh, okay, unexpected moves. Anybody
Yeah.
else relate to that? Yeah. So when you're curious, it's like, well, how could life be in another place? You never know. Who else has something they're curious about? Yes.
How my grandson will grow up to be amazing.
Oh, okay, curious about the young man that's being raised. Nice. Curious about new ways. Yes.
Curious about this stage of life and what, and the differences that are going to be experienced.
Okay, for people on Zoom, she said, curious about this stage of life and a new stage of life and what's going to show up. Okay, great, thank you. On to the third tip, which is to replenish your soul in nature.
Yeah.
And to me, when I go through difficult times, I know that reconnecting in nature is such a powerful tool. It's almost like getting in touch with spirit and its pure element, its pure form. And so I just love that feeling of nature, and we're going to be doing something more with that in the workshop as well. How do you get in touch with nature? Marie Davis says, to walk in nature is to witness 1,000 miracles. Think about it. Think about all the miracles that exist. Just when I even look at an acorn and realize there's a giant oak tree inside that little tiny seed, basically. Now, nature reflects back to us what we are, whether it's blue sky, trees, mountains, or whether it's pollution and garbage. Nature has a very honest quality to it, saying, okay, this is what you put into me, this is what you get back. Now, this tree up in northern Thailand in Chiang Mai was like a massive 30-foot tall tree, and this is taken at night, and I loved how the blossoms were just illuminated. It's called a golden shower tree, and while I'm not crazy about the name, I really liked the fact that it had healing properties to it. So parts of the tree would heal certain aspects of your being. I also loved the part of nature where I could sit and watch the sunrise in the morning as the sun melted away the mist over the mountains. And to me, the power of this is realizing all the possibilities with a new day. That maybe yesterday didn't go so well, but today is filled with 24 hours of all these new possibilities. And then, of course, the setting of the sun. Part of my ritual was going down to the beach as much as I could and just walking along and watching the sun till it totally disappeared into the water. I know it didn't really go into the water, but it looks like it. And I just love the idea that I could let go and I didn't have to worry about anything more of the day, that everything that needed to be done was done. And just to breathe in that. So whatever rituals you have, think about how you end your days as well. How you know that if you can be out in nature, it's a nice healing aspect. Now on this slide, I was on this big lake in an old Thai boat, and we went around and we saw trees and giant bushes growing out of these limestone cliffs. And what I got from this was how sometimes we can grow and thrive under really challenging circumstances. These trees just need a little bit of soil, a little bit of nourishment, and they were able to take off and grow into these giant things. from the edges of cliffs. So think about in your life too, where you've been able to grow under difficult circumstances. And nature has a great reminder of that. I love the pink plumeria. And Eckhart Tolle talks about the flower being one of the most beautiful, vulnerable messengers. You know, it's ethereal. It comes to us where it reminds us that we can come from a firm base, something stronger, and then be this vulnerable flower opening up to life, blossoming into the world. So how do you replenish your soul? Where do you go? I'm familiar with places in Thailand, in Chico, but how about around here? Where do you go to be in nature? This calls out, yes.
Well, I live in a beautiful neighborhood that has redwood trees and oak trees, it's a forest, but it's a planned community and there's walking paths and I feel really safe there and it changes throughout the year with flowers and then the leaves in the fall and mushrooms and
Nice.
turkeys and all kinds of.
Nice. For those who can't hear, in Zoomland, that she lives in a planned community with forests and walking trails around her. And in fact, in Japan, they do something called forest bathing and walking amidst the trees. And if you get that chance and you do it barefoot, that's like extra credit because that grounding you get from walking barefoot helps regenerate and align your system, or so I've been told. What else? How else do you align or connect with nature around here?
Water.
Water, yes. The boat and the water, yes. I know that Sharon loves her boat and seeing the beautiful creatures that swim along beside you. And yes, being on the ocean is powerful. Anybody else want to share?
We have the beautiful lakes up here and surrounded by the lakes often is trees and forestry atmosphere.
Yes.
So that's a good place to go.
Lake Folsom, you have
The Delta.
the Delta, yes, many bodies of water. So there's something very powerful about water that just reminds us to be at peace as well. Despite the surface, sometimes it's peaceful below as well. The fourth point is something that perhaps is one of the most important ones, because giving thanks and appreciating it all is such a powerful, energetic tool. And I love how she's holding up the globe, because we do live on what's called the Goldilocks planet, which is this beautiful blend of oxygen and minerals and all the other stuff. I'm not a scientist, but I know that we have the perfect balanced planet. And hopefully we will continue to take care of it so it will let us inhabit her. Neil Donald Walsh has a recent book out called The God Solution. Has anybody read that? Okay, it's a great book. And in it he says, gratitude is not merely an emotion, it is a decision. So powerful is this decision that it becomes a definition, telling us what is so about any situation, circumstance, or event. Think about that. If you decide to say thank you, despite how the conditions look, then you're affirming that whatever is going on is already a gift in your experience, that it's there to bless you, despite your initial judgment of it. So make that decision to say thank you, despite what's going on. Here I'm at the base of a monument called the Big Buddha. Now the Big Buddha had big stairs, and it was a hot, humid day, and I had to climb from there up to the very top. And I thought about the challenges in life, knowing that each one, if we just take it one step at a time, it does eventually get us to where we want to be. And we can see more light. I could see all over the island of Phuket on this particular monument. And it reminded me to just know that despite the challenges, we're always getting to that next higher place, that next higher perspective of understanding. Even though we might sweat a lot in the process. I love this little boy's subtle expression because it was Songkran, which I can share more about the culture later, but it's where you throw water at each other, and he was filling up his little coconut shell with water. It was a super hot day, and then he was splashing it all over himself. And it was just that attitude of gratitude for the water that was being received. And I was thinking, wow, we could maybe end our drought that way. If we play in water and carefully over lawns that need to be watered, but splash ourselves and like priming the pump, which is what brings on the monsoon rains in Thailand. So they have a water festival right before the rains. Now, one other thing to be grateful for is the abundance of food. Anybody know what this is?
You can see the labels.
Yeah, you can see the labels. It's written, it's called pad mee karat, pad thai, different flavors of pad thai on a massive amount because there was a little festival going on. And it's only 50 baht, which is like $1.10, which worked for me. And I just thought how grateful I am to be in a country that we have enough food, at least in parts of it. And I thought of all the displaced people, for whatever reasons around the world, who are lacking that food. And so I've really learned after all my travels in India to just be grateful for the food that I'm given. Now, I'm not grateful that that McDonald's is all over the world, but what Ronald is doing here is called the why, where you bow and you do the kapunka, and it means thank you. But it can also mean I'm sorry. So you can interpret that however you want. What are you most thankful for in your life? Go ahead and just call out a few things.
Friends.
Friends.
Family.
Family, yes, those are huge. What else?
Health.
Health, yes. Sometimes we don't realize how grateful we are about our health until we lose it a bit. What else?
The center.
The center. Yes, it's a wonderful place to come to and have that connection as well. Any other?
I'm grateful for life.
For life itself,
All that
yes.
it unfolds us.
Nice, yes. Any other? I guess life kind of covers it though, right?
I mean, nature, music.
Yeah, it's a patent thing. Yeah, that's all part of life. Okay, the fifth tip is don't be attached to any of it. Sometimes we just get little snapshots of life and we want to hold on because it feels so good and it's like, this might not come again. I have to hang on to it. I want you to meet Spot, my friend's dog up in Chiang Mai. Now, Spot loved to play fetch more than anything else. But Spot didn't want to let go of the ball. So Spot sacrificed the game that he loved in order to hang on to something that he thought he might lose. What are the balls in your life that are causing you to sacrifice doing what you might love and going forward in life because you just don't want to let go of it? You got a little attached. Frida Kahlo, a Mexican artist, says, nothing is absolute. Everything moves, everything changes, everything revolves, everything flies and goes away. Now, for those of you who don't know her story, she was afflicted by polio as a child, and she went on to go to medical school and study to be a doctor when she was in a bus accident at the age of 18. And then she decided that as she lay in bed, she would become an artist. So she embraced the change. She wasn't attached to the outcome that she once thought was hers. She instead became a famous artist and did self-portraits and sold over 200 of them. And you can look her up, and she has an amazing story. Our lives are sometimes like this bicycle. We want to move forward, but we've attached ourselves to something permanent and unmoving, and it's just a big bulky thing. So it's really hard to move forward if we're stuck. Maybe it's our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings of being limited. Thank you for that song. That's such a great reminder to be unlimited in our thinking. But once again, when we anchor ourselves to wooden structures that don't move, we're held back. Sometimes the transportation that brought us to a place needs to be left behind. It can no longer serve us on our journey. As I walked up close to these rusting boats, the big one had a tree growing through it. Don't go out in that, Sharon, not seaworthy. And so the idea that if we're attached to a particular mode of transportation, we'll never go on. We might even sink in the process. I watched these children play on the beach for a while, and they were having a wonderful time building a sandcastle with shells and sticks and feathers. And then, as you know, the tide comes in, and the children discovered the law of impermanence. They were a little shocked at first, but being kids, they got over it pretty quickly. How often do we keep on looking for that sandcastle in that same form? The sandcastle really didn't leave, it just became part of the beach. But we're so attached to the way we think something should be that we're not open to the possibilities of what it is. So what attachments do you need to let go of? Maybe the fears you have, beliefs of being limited, not enoughness. Explore this more later as well. So just like the sun rises and sets, another boat will come in. We don't have to worry that we're missing out on our ship came in and left without us. No, the universe is unlimited. More will come. Just as the sun sets, it will rise again. And there's a continuity of life, of nature, of power and energy that this teaching encompasses. So we just have to be brave enough to know that, well, that's the next slide actually. As a teacher, I have to do a review. You won't be tested, but the first one, we are all connected. And whether we're showing up in the form of a golden Buddha, a bronze statue, or a skin-clad human, we're all connected by an invisible string of hearts that unites us from love. Also, to stay curious, follow that first inkling of a passion to where it might take you. Replenish your soul in nature or whatever place works for you. Give thanks. It's all a gift, whether you see it that way or not. And then finally, let go. The universe has designed something far greater than we could possibly imagine. So when we let go, we're trusting and allowing the universe to deliver us where we need to be or what we need to experience. Coming from a land of Buddhism, I have to end with this quote by Buddha. In the end, only three things matter: how much you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of things not meant for you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
So sweet, thank you. This is a song that I like to share. I didn't know what you were going to talk about, so I like to match my songs to the theme, but I think it's going to tie in. And it's a song that I wrote a long time ago after I'd been part of a social gathering where I didn't feel like people were really connecting, and I felt disconnected, even though we are all connected ultimately, of course. But in that moment, I felt like we weren't connecting, and I came home searching for connection, like deep, like what's the deepest part of me connection? Who am I really? And from that searching came this song. Here I go again, searching inside remember my friend, and it's okay. She helps me see my path so very clear, and move beyond any fear. It's the God in me, the present eternal light of me. And when I search within, I find a love that never ends. It's eternal love, divinely true, inside my very self, it heals me. It's the lovingness, the givingness, the changeless part of me, the real me, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Great music, great everything. And what we are offering you is an opportunity to give, offering 3 different ways you can give. You can give through PayPal or Square, through our website, beautiful website, www.saccsl.org. You can go through Amazon, put us as your favorite charity, and we get a little something back from them every time. Thank you. Or you can mail a personal check to our address shown on your screen. And thank you, YouTube, for your donations. We appreciate it so much. And if you'll remain muted, we'll say our beautiful abundance affirmation. Abiding by the law of circulation and in heartfelt gratitude, I affirm that I live in a creative and abundant universe that continuously flows in, through, and out as me, expressing as the ever-expanded infinite good. And so it is. And now, we're always available for prayer requests online through our beautiful website at www.saccsl. So please send your prayers. We love to pray over them because we believe in them, because they work. Thank you. And here's our latest news from our Reverend Sharon Dunn.
Oh, we have a workshop. Do you want to actually share a little bit about that, Reverend Lisa? That would be
Sure.
amazing. Okay. I would love to hear kind of a tickler. Can we get a tickler?
Do I need a microphone or can I just?
Yeah,
please.
Okay, as I thought I tickled a little bit, but I'll give you a little more tickling. So we're going to have an interactive workshop where we explore these tips deeper. Is that what I said? I hope so. Anyway, we're gonna go deeper on the 5 tips for the journey and have a very experiential process in there. You'll be in dyads, sharing out, we're doing some release stuff. So all those 5 tips kind of on steroids. And it'll just be about an hour. So, and you, once again, you never have to share what you're not comfortable sharing. So it's just it's like a do-it-yourself kind of experience. Whatever you want to put into it, get out of it.
Sounds great. And we want to say that just to confuse you, we meet in person the 1st, 3rd, and 5th Sundays, and on Zoom the 2nd and 4th. We have that? That's pretty good. I think we've got that now. And Linda, do you want to share a little bit about this? Yeah. I'll let you all do it.
I think we to share. So the outreach committee, once a quarter, we choose an organization that we're going to support, all guided by our membership from the survey that we took. So this quarter, it is Empowered Women Equals Healthy Babies. So they empower women by supporting them in their lives and finding a job, maintaining a job, and daycare, and all those wonderful things. In the past, we gathered, as many of you may remember, a bunch of clothing and accessories for them for their, when they go for interviews for their jobs. It is a great organization, and that's who we're supporting. And in September, they will be coming and we'll get to present a check to them in person. You could also go online and donate directly to them. But if you do that, please remember to put on the memo that you are part of the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. It is just that people are aware that we are supporting everyone locally in our community.
And we actually want to thank Linda for being the outreach coordinator.
Yes.
She has been that for how long now? Couple of years? You know, and that's quite a vision. It's a vision, you know, that we, you know, Reverend Lisa was talking about being connected. We're connected to our here we go. We're connected to our greater Sacramento community this way. So, and we're also connected to centers for spiritual living globally. In fact, I've been invited to be on the board of the Science of Mind Archives.
Wow.
International, which is the history of New Thought, which is, you know, how much I love that. So that's something I'm considering right now. So definitely volunteer, because you can volunteer at the local level, at the greater level, and it's quite wonderful. And now we will have our practitioner of the day come back and pray us out. You know, when we do pray today, I do want to mention that Reverend Sarah, who's a part of our center's mother, made her transition. And she's actually come. I don't know if you remember Reverend Sarah's ordination where her mom came. And I think she's come to a couple of things. And so let's keep Reverend Sarah and her family in our prayers.
And so our gift for the week is our affirmation. My relationships with everything demonstrate my relationship with God. Yes. And so now let's close out with the benediction as we again breathe in and connect to that living spirit that unfolds and expresses us. As long as we stay connected and open to it through our connectedness, through our heart and the living spirit, to be curious, to have that curious mind as why or how, and just be curious about all creation. And then replenish ourselves. Replenish ourselves in whatever way out in nature that we can be, whether it is our backyard, walking the trails, just looking up at the mountains, the wide blue sky, or watching the sunrise and the sunset. It replenishes each and every one of us. And then we give thanks, gratitude for it all as we let it go, knowing that this current moment now becomes our past, and we let it go with that gratitude and love and being open and curious about what will unfold in our lives next. And so with that, we'll go about our rest of our day and our week with that curious mind, wondering, what's going to come next? What's going to unfold in, through, and as me and as us. And so. And now please stay tuned for our fellowship. It will be on Zoom and Marjorie will be hosting that on Zoom. So please, those on Zoom, stay tuned. And then also please enjoy our closing song. And it's gonna be followed by our fellowship and a workshop, which I don't know about anybody else, but I'm very curious and I'm gonna be attending.
Yeah. Join in if you remember this tune. We are one together.